The Pandavas had served their time. The years of exile and hiding were over, and by all rules of the era, it was time for them to reclaim their kingdom. But Duryodhana dug his heels in and refused to honor the agreement. Krishna himself arrived in the court with a final, straightforward peace offering. Duryodhana, entirely consumed by his own ego and backed by his inner circle of elite warriors, rejected diplomacy outright. He made war inevitable. Before the battle lines could be formally drawn, the confident atmosphere in the court shattered. The formidable sage Parashurama walked into the assembly. Parashurama did not mince words. He looked at the heavyweights of the Kuru court, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and dismissed their might entirely. He told the assembly they were fools for picking a fight with Krishna and Arjuna. To prove his point, Parashurama invoked a forgotten chapter of history. He presented an ancient legend as a record of historical certainty, a warning that confronting this specific duo meant stepping into a cycle of defeat that had already been written. Parashurama transported the court deep into the past to introduce an ancient king named Dambodvava. He had dismantled every kingdom he encountered, leaving a trail of broken crowns and surrendering generals. Dambodvava was actively hunting for a challenge. He roamed the earth, aggressively demanding combat from Brahmins and Kshatriyas, convinced that no living being in the universe could match his physical power. The exhausted scholars finally gave him a target. They pointed him toward Mount Gandhamadhan, telling the king that if he wanted a real fight, he needed to face two legendary figures residing there. These were the brothers Nar and Narayan. Far from the aggressive warlords the king was used to fighting, these two were righteous, peaceful ascetics who spent their days lost in quiet meditation. The king looked at the brothers and saw only two men sitting in the dirt. He was unable to perceive a strength that didn't carry a shield or lead a cavalry, making him blind to the authority they actually held. When the king reached the mountain, he walked right up to the meditating brothers and aggressively demanded a duel. Nar and Narayan calmly refused. They explained that they were men of peace, that this was a sacred ground, and advised the king to seek his battle elsewhere. Enraged by the dismissal, Dambodvava commanded his forces to attack, unleashing a massive barrage of weapons that blotted out the sky, aiming to crush the brothers where they sat. The sage didn't draw a sword or summon an army. He simply reached down, picked up a single blade of kusha grass, and charged it with energy. This diagram illustrates the logic of the encounter. On one side, you have a massive field of incoming force vectors, representing the king's entire army. But when that massive force collides with the single glowing focal point of energized grass, it instantly dissolves the projectiles. Stripped of his pride, the king surrendered. The brothers showed compassion, forgiving him on the spot. Dharma requires very little physical effort to prevail. When aligned with the truth of the universe, a single gesture can dismantle the machinery of an entire empire. Parashurama finished the story and snapped the Kuru assembly back to the present day. He turned his attention directly back to Duryodhana to deliver his verdict. He revealed that those two invincible ancient sages, two bodies sharing a single divine soul, had been reborn, and they were currently standing in that very court. This timeline maps the identities exactly. We start with one central node, the singular divine soul. It splits into the ancient nodes of Nar and Narayan. Follow those parallel lines forward in time, and they connect directly to their modern identities, the warrior Arjuna and Krishna. Parashurama delivered his warning. Duryodhana was repeating the same pattern. The moment Arjuna lifts his Gandiva bow, the Kaurava army faces certain doom. Duryodhana is marching his army directly into a karmic collision. Kurukshetra represents the moment mortal pride finally breaks against the same divine reality that humbled kings in ages past.